All right, so today I'm going to be showing off my Ember Fuselage reverse or reduced duration Titan. I am not a professional streamer by any means, but yeah, if you want to like or subscribe or dislike or unsubscribe, I don't care. But yeah, I've been playing Ember Titan for since season one. It's been pretty fun, although this season it got pretty juiced with either something in the passive tree, which would be the extra reduced duration. So now with Palm of the Dreamer, we're able to get 100% reduced duration, which really ramps up our life regen and makes it so we can have some pretty cool interactions that I don't think are possible with other classes. So right now we're regenning about 20,000 life per second because of time of need. We're able to have a hover duration on the embers of about point zero, like 5 milliseconds. So the cool thing about it is as I'm casting, if I go ahead and dodge, it will actually fire the embers while I dodge, which adds a slightly different play style as well. I decided to go cast on critical, cast on elemental ailment. Um, I'm running a high crit chance on my gear, and I think it works pretty good. We're able to drop quite a bit of comets. Also, because of time of need, we are essentially immune to any ailments. Um, we are living the headhunter life, which is pretty fun. The other thing too is we're not super worried about Shroudwalker on this build because as long as we have embers up, if we get teleported into a mob, we have embers that are ready to fire as soon as we get in there. So we're we're pretty safe. The other thing I did is I added some gems that increase freeze, the magnitude of freeze. Then I also added the shock conduction um, stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the build. So if we go through the skills, we're running a spell slinger with extra comet, um, energy retention, boundless energy. Impurity is kind of nice because it gives us a bunch of free support gems, and it also gives us 28% chaos resistance, which comes in handy. We are running Orb of Storms. Excuse me, I don't really cast this that often manually, but because of the reduced duration, as I'm casting, I'm able to generate lightning infusions, which then increases the damage of the Ember. But I don't usually cast that manually because I'm actually getting that from my cast on critical. If we look at Ember Fuselage, we're using Silence Temper, Zolf's Pyre, Pinpoint Critical, Rising Tempest, and Concentrated Area. Um, we're using Thunderstorm as a way to apply shock to everything. Pretty standard um, configuration there. We are casting this on weapon set 2. Ember Fuselage is weapon set 1, and so is Orb of Storms. Cast on criticals, we're running Comet or Orb of Storms to generate lightning infusions, and then we're running Concentrated Area for more damage. On the Cast an Elemental Ailment, we're also running Comet. We're running Living Bomb to generate fire infusions, and then very similarly, we're going to run Boundless Energy and Freeze, as well as Concentrated Area. Time of Need is healing us for 11 or almost 1200 life, and it is going to go ahead and do that roughly every 0.06 seconds. So we have quite a bit of regen from that. I'm also applying Dial's Desire and Uhtred's Augury. These are not required, but they are nice. Elemental Weakness for essentially bosses that have high amount of resistance. And then this is a fun tech, Elemental Conflux. will boost damage by 72% per of the affected element. Just for fun, we added compressed duration. So that's why it looks like we have a, you can't really see it here, but let's go back to town and it'll look like we have a rabid squirrel or something on our back. So that's what's causing that to kind of go nuts there. And because we do all three types of damage, it's kind of just damage increase to any one of those. That's also why these numbers are changing so frequently. For gear, we're running a dueling wand. Really, we're looking for all spell skills because we cast all spells. We're looking for increased or extra fire, cold, or lightning damage, doesn't really matter. Increased spell chance or spell damage, crit hit chance, and cast speed. For the helm, we're running really just energy shield, resistances, life, and crit chance. This is the only part that's actually 100% required is Palm of the Dreamer with a -8 or below skill effect duration. So you want to reduce your skill effect duration by at least 8%, and that with the tree will get us to 100% skill effect duration reduction. The other important part is Maligaro's Virtuosity. This is really just a damage increase. It gives us an increased crit hit chance, and it also means we don't have to spec into critical damage bonus. It's just 250%. For the chests, I'm really just running this to get a little bit of extra damage from the corrupted skill gems. The spirit is important if you want to run the what is it called? The elemental conflux. If you don't want to run elemental conflux, then you don't need spirit on your chest. Yeah, for the amulet, we're running a typical caster, so all spell skills, crit hit chance, cast speed, spell damage, and energy shield. I was ran the early maps at around 1700 energy shield. It felt pretty squishy. I recommend at least 3000 or above. I went rarity on the ring and elemental resistances and cast speed. We're mirroring that with Calandra's touch. We are living the headhunter life because why not? And then movement speed and resistance on your boots. For the passive tree, we're essentially picking up the increased or reduced skill effect duration on either weapon set 2 or 1. We're really looking for crit hit chance. We are using blood magic because we have such a high amount of life regen. We're picking up nodes again that give us increased critical hit chance. These ones are important here for reduced skill effect duration because we are a Titan. We do get this node here, 50% increase effect of small passive skills. We're also going, we get our purse, which is nice. We get crushing blows, so more damage against heavy stunned. We don't really heavy stunned that often, but it kind of helps. And then, yeah, more life. So that's kind of cool. Because we are all elemental damages instead of chaos damage, we spec into the things that apply to elemental damage, which is kind of nice. We are also getting quite a bit of infusions. So we spec into some of that. We get this 18% node. Outside of that, we're just specking for energy shield and crit hit chance. And then we are triggering spells, so this is kind of a nice damage increase. For the anoint, I went with Evocational Practitioner because we are triggering all the time. It's just a 25% crit hit chance and 25% increased energy. So yeah, that's the build. That's at any point in time, I might put a few other bosses kills in here, but that's the build.